spoken word. I would say my mom, she writes poetry. She has a bunch of poetry. She would read it to me as a kid and encourage me to write. What else? Just life experiences. I guess having somebody like my mom who encouraged me always to write, and I had an aunt buy me a journal. I said that's one of the best presents I ever received because I didn't realize how much I needed it, but in that moment, like, I started to write in my journal, which led to me to write in general. And then in college, what really inspired me, they had a group, right? They had a group for poetry. I didn't even know that. Somebody contacted me and was like, oh, they had one at my high school. And I was like, I didn't even know that. But, oh well, I was too into like sports and stuff. But I went to University of Delaware and they had SPIT, Stimulating Prose Ideas and Theories. And I was like, oh, I'm going to perform at their open mic. I did it, had a good time. And then I started watching poets like Jasmine Mans, Alicia Harris on their part of Striver's Row. And I was like, I want to write like them. Like, I felt what they said. Like, I want to be like, I want to be good. Like, I want to write like that. So, you know, I wanted to get better. So I would write to kind of get better and express myself. But I still didn't think much of it, you know. So after I graduated college, I was like, all right. I stopped writing for a bit, actually. I didn't really write. But now I found my way through different experiences.
Now it seems like you are like very conscious or like woke, as they say. When did that happen for you? Did it happen in college, high school? When did that happen? When you started like, you know?
When I got woke. I guess it depends. Like, I always feel like being woke is like hard these days because I'm like, I'll watch other people talk about stuff and I'll be like, yo, I'm not informed. I'm not informed on that stuff. Just the things that I'm passionate about. When I start writing, sometimes I'm like, oh, let me look up some things to like the different metaphors I use if I'm going to talk about something. Let me figure it out. What technically like woke me up in essence would be when it comes to, I might talk about like you heard American Girl, you heard Dream Girl. American Girl is definitely about being a black girl and not looking around you and seeing that an American dream isn't really for you, because we have dreams as well as young black women. And I remember being in private school and being one of the few black people who I couldn't afford to go to that school, but I was able to go to that school. And everybody else around me, like, they haven't, my daddy can fire your daddy. And I'm like, I don't even know where my daddy works. So like, in essence, I started feeling like certain ways. Like, I would sit next to a girl every other day. We look at houses we wanted to live in. She already lived in, you know, 2-car garage, 5-bedroom, all good. You know, I don't have anything against you living in a nice home. I want a nice home too. But she sit next to me and say, I'm poor. I'm poor. I'm looking at her living in an apartment. Every time my aunt and uncle's house. And you're poor? I'm not poor. So different things could make you feel like they didn't belong to you. Like, that wasn't meant for me or meant for you because you haven't seen them tangible for people like you. And that's where I kind of became woke in the essence of, why is it this way? Why am I why am I the oldest black kid in a school that goes from 8th grade to pre-K? Why am I the only one? Like, I don't get it. And so that's why I ended up going to Brandywine High School. I was like, Mom, I want to be around people more like me a little bit. And that's when I started thinking about the disparities between the races and how things weren't fair. Or like, I have a cousin who's like, you know, we grew up in a similar situation, but totally different, like, opportunities can make a difference. Going to a predominantly white college as well, you see this perspective from the people who don't live the life you live, and you see what they don't know, and you're like, what? Or you see what they do know, or what they think they know, and the same thing even from people that look like me too. So I would say I was empowered. I know one of my favorite things was African socialism class, and I'll still reference that class today. Like, they talked about Nyerere and Kwame Nkrumah, and like, we got more in depth about Malcolm X a bit, and favorite was Marcus Garvey, right? That I think that was like my big like Marcus Garvey. Can you see what he did?
Yeah.
Like he
with
had
no social media, right? To get everybody together. Like
yes, that's what I'm saying. You got. He's all the way in Africa. He's got his own magazine. He's getting this exported. They were not like. Times were not like they are today. He did not get on the phone like, hey, y'all, like, not like we can do today. Not just no internet, no.
We think Kevin Hart work. That's real work right there.
Yeah.
Like, Marcus
he
Garvey.
met with the leader of the KKK and was like, yeah, like we going back home. You agree? Like we can, like, bruh. There's one thing we agree upon right here.
Yeah.
Is that we can do that. But yeah, he started a whole movement that like we are still a part of today. And I think kids may, like, their parents may bring them a part of it, and some kids, like, they may go to the festivals and different things and not even realize like Marcus Garvey helped start so much of what's incorporated when it comes to empowering young black people as a whole.
Now more about spoken word. So are there like any big events that you guys do, like in different cities or states?
So some spoken word artists they do slams. Okay. I have done a few slams. I just really started doing the slams, and I haven't necessarily joined a team. Like some people are in slam teams, so it's different for different artists. Some artists are just performers and they go from place to place. That's more like what I do. I haven't joined the slam life per se, not yet. I'm learning and have learned that you have to reach out to people as well. So people won't always know who you are, but if you have your portfolio, then you go to them with your portfolio, just like a resume, and say, hey, I really would like to perform at your venue, blah, blah, blah. You can put a wage on your art, or you can do a number of different things. So as far as like sometimes it's like a bartering system when it comes to, especially in the artist industry. If you like, you work with a camera, I work with my words. Say we could exchange in some way. Like, hey, you do video, I'll perform at your event that you're having or something. It's so easy to get caught up. It's so easy to. Because I knew when I graduated high school, I wanted to be a motivational speaker. Like, I graduated and I was like, I'm going to major in communications. I'm going to be a motivational speaker. Got him. Like, I'm on it. Like, you can't tell me I don't know what I want to do. Then I had a conversation with somebody who really cared about me. And they very nicely just put it in perspective that, you don't have to go to college for this. Are you sure you want to do this? Do something that's going to make you money. You're going to spend money on college. Do something that's going to make you money. That made a lot of sense. Like, it made a lot of sense. Why am I going to college with it? But I know I gotta go to college, and so you start thinking. But I'm like, nah, I'm not gonna let that deter me. I got this fighter, like I got the spirit in me. I'm gonna do this. I'm in the communications program. I'm there, and as time goes on, I don't know if that's what I want to do, because it doesn't make sense. Well, what am I gonna talk about? Who am I gonna talk to? What am I gonna say? And who's gonna listen? How do I? Yeah, only famous people get to do that. So I have to do something else before I can even do that. So what is that else gonna be? So by the time I graduate college, I don't know what I want to do. I graduated with a degree in mass comm and 2 minors, Black American Studies, Women's Studies. But what am I gonna do with all that? I like working with kids. I'm passionate about education because of the experiences I've had. I did something called City Year. And within there, I didn't do much poetry. I still didn't know. I was like, kind of daunting. I knew it was going to end. Like, I did a second year. I was like, yes, I get a second year at this. I get a second year to think about what I really want to do for the rest of my life. Teaching. That's what came up. It made sense. It made sense to everybody around me. Oh, you're good with kids. You like working with kids. That's where your passion is. It made sense to me. I was like, 1 + 1 = 2. I went to an accelerated grad program. Did not enjoy it. Didn't feel like it was for me. Literally had like a breakdown because I couldn't figure out if that's where I needed to be, and I needed to figure it out soon, or else I'd be paying off more loans.
You say you prayed about it. You talked to some people about it. about the
Yeah.
situation?
I was trying to get my bearings together. And I knew, I was like, I do want to write. And I had said that while I was in City Year, because I started writing a little bit towards the end again. And I had met somebody who I asked her, I was like, oh, well, what do you want to do? And she was like, oh, I want to be a motivational speaker. And I looked at her, I said, why can't I say that anymore? And you know, I was like, she's bold.
Yeah.
And a part of me was kind of like, you not bold? And then I was just like, oh well, it's not for you, it's for her. And you know, I thanked her because she inspired me while I was in City Year. And then as I went to this program, because she did inspire me to write a little bit. And so I was writing more by the time I went to this program. So the same day I was quitting, we had a presentation, group presentations. And so my group went up, and it was nothing serious. It was like we went around the city of Baltimore, got some information, came back, you have to present it. Basically to gain some sense of community. Went up there, did the thing, came down. Everybody was like, good job. You're a fantastic speaker. I'm like, all I did was a presentation. They're like, some girl came up to me, where can I hear you speak again?
Wow.
I was like, I don't know. Like, and then right before I sat down, one of my friends said, you know, if teaching doesn't work out for you, you can always be a motivational speaker. Little did anybody know, right after that class, I was gonna go quit because I wanted to be a poet and a motivational speaker.
Wow.
And so, and it was hard because I do love working with kids, and I felt like I was quitting on the kids that I currently had over that summer period. And I cried when I said yes, like I do, like I feel really bad, but like this is just not for me, and I have to do something different. And so that happened, and that was just one of the forms of confirmation for me that this is where I was supposed to be. So no matter what happens, as I struggle to get where I want to be, where I need to be, places I don't even know where I'm going, that I'm gonna end up, I have to remind other people you can do the same, and it's okay, because people are gonna look at you because it doesn't make sense to them. But if you know in your heart where you're supposed to be and what you're supposed to do, it doesn't have to make sense to anybody else. But the people who really care are gonna be worried too. And they're gonna say, that's nice, but what are you gonna do? How are you gonna make money? How are you gonna do the things that matter at this moment right now? How are you gonna make it? You might not know, but you'll figure it out, I bet you that. So that's kind of why, that was a long answer for a very short question. But I think that makes, if I had to put things in perspective, that's kind of why. Especially when it comes to kids, because that's where my passion lies. It's like, I want them to know you have a dream, have purpose, find purpose in that dream. You know, I always say, I had, you know, like a lot of us dream about money and all these other things, but that might not be fulfilling. So you need to find your purpose within that dream. It's cool, I wanted to be a basketball player. I don't think my purpose was within that dream. I still love basketball, still play that. But I found my purpose in the other things that I did. So.
And I wanted to ask you too about your experience. I talked to a lot of, I talked to a lot of black women about this though. I think a lot of black guys got a different experience. Well, yeah, they do. When it comes to going to UD, right?
Okay, interesting.
A lot of black guys I talk to, you know, they like it. You know, they party and stuff like that. They enjoy it. A lot of black women I talk to, they said, you know, it was difficult with the can I touch your hair and stuff. I didn't know y'all got that a lot. Can I touch your hair? Like that stuff. I think just being overlooked, you know, by their own men, and just not feeling like they're like a sense of involvement somewhere, unless they were in like a little group, like the Black Student Union or something like that. How was your experience at UD as a black woman?
My experience at UD as a black woman, definitely, man, feels like it's been a few years, but I went to UD with some people that I already knew, so great. I went there, I already had friends. But beyond that, I would say the thing about the being overlooked by your own men definitely is like a big. I remember we had a like it was a few of us. We like had a conversation with one of these black guys, especially the athletes. No offense, you know, it's like why do so many black guys go to the other girls? You know, oh, well, you know, they're going to tie my shoes and let me borrow dad's car and stuff. Like, you know, like, all these other things. I'm like, this is real? Like, I've like heard about this, but this is real? Like, girls are really waking up, tying your shoes and like making your clothes and y'all not even together? Like, they cooking you breakfast. I'm sorry, I'll cook you breakfast if we, you know, but that was like definitely one of those conversations that would come up from time to time. And I was in a group, so I didn't feel too much overlooked. It's just there weren't many places that were meant for us. Like, there were enough. I'm used to being in those type of environments, I think, but it definitely wasn't what I thought it was going to be, because UD portrayed itself as like having this mixture of races and everything. I thought it was going to be like Brandywine. I was like, we have a good mix. Like, that's good enough for me. Went there and I was like, where are they all at? Like, and what happened was, what I noticed was, like, in freshman year, there'd be like a nice spread of black people, and then they, as time went on, by the end of freshman year, they just kind of fell off. Whether they went to different schools, they didn't like this school, whatever the reason was, by the time you reached sophomore year, these black people weren't there. I don't know if it's still the same way now, but I definitely I found out, like, I was like, oh, when you see a lot of black people, it's like usually from the freshman class, and then there was just a few who stayed. And you know, the black people and Latinas and Latinos, like, we all stuck together. That's what I felt like. The people of color, mainly those two groups though, at University of Delaware. So everybody had like their own groups, and we all knew each other, and so it was kind of small in that essence. And I remember one boy came from Africa, and another boy was interviewing us. He found there's 3 black people sitting next to each other. It's funny because one was Nigerian, I was black, and then my other friend, she's Afro-Latina. Okay. So we're all kind of coming from a different perspective of being black. And he's like, so what do you guys think about, there was this report that UD wasn't meeting its quota for, I guess, diversity. And he was like, so what do you guys think about that? And the guy from Africa, he was like, I can't do the accent, but he was just like, he was like, I was bamboozled. He was like, they sent me these pictures and I had this thing, and I'm thinking I come to UD and it's gonna be just like this, and there's no black people. So as soon as he got here, he was like, I was bamboozled. Like, he didn't have a chance to visit before he got here. And so the experience as a black woman, to me, I don't know how it compares to a black man. I guess I didn't really ask too in depth, but I do think, like, also, like, I was never called, and it may just be because of like how I don't know, it might be because I'm a woman, but like I was never called like the N-word. But I do know like some guys who were called the N-word. There were some like different experiences where I definitely thought it was because of my race though. Just like I watched 2 girls sit on like the floor instead of like there's like room on a bleacher, right? Like there's a whole bleacher, and like they could have sat like right next to this black guy, but instead they sat on the ground of the bleachers. And then when he got up, they moved to the bleacher, and I was like, but there was definitely enough room for you guys to sit there before. I don't know what that's about, but I just put that in my head. And just, you know, those little things that happen, you just recognize that that there's still issues that need to be solved. To young people in general would be to follow your dreams, your purpose, find your passion, and don't let anybody take that away from you. If you find it in your heart, that's what it's meant to be. But make sure you're looking. Like, don't just hold on to something because you've been told to hold on to it. Like, you have to find it for yourself and be aware. And you'll know, like, you'll feel it. Like, I feel like you probably feel it for yourself, right? Like, you feel some type of pull to what you're doing. And you know, like, there's a reason behind it all. And that's how I feel about what I'm doing. Closing out with a poem. I'm trying to think what poem would I do. I always do American Girl. Let's See, I can give you the song to a poem that I'm about to finish.
Okay.
And this one is more about when you rise, like when you do what you're supposed to do, when you follow your passion, your dream, your purpose, you allow others to do the same. That's basically all it's about. So it's just the song portion. I really like it, so I'll do that part. And then hopefully you guys look out for the actual poem because it'll be out soon. Your smile like the sun, don't underestimate its power. Your smile like the sun, they're waiting for it to rise. Your smile like the sun, don't underestimate its power. Your smile like the sun, they're waiting for it to rise. Somebody somewhere is waiting on you to rise like the orange that turns skies to blue. Somebody somewhere is waiting on you to rise like the orange that turns skies